Hello and welcome back to the MinMax podcast. My name is White Boy,
And I'm Apple.
and today we're going to be talking about AAA games versus indie games, starting out with what mistakes do indie teams often make?
So I'll start by saying I'm a pretty big fan of like a lot of indie games. I find that um for the most part, it's fun to just explore a lot of different games in general. But I have noticed from playing so many indie games, that they often try to do stuff that's out of their budget. Um, there's been like so many times where I pick up a new indie game, and the trailer sort of promise this big open world, and you
Right.
can do this and this and this in it. And then it's like you might be able to do some of those things, but then it's like it's so bland and boring. Or like
Mm.
you run around the world and see the exact same building and the exact same rock like 20 times in a row, and you're like, like it
There's no
I feel
soul
like
to it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like they have this idea that entices you, but oftentimes they just don't have a budget to
Mm.
utilize it. And so I think that's the main mistake that I see, is them just reaching too far out of their limits. And then another thing is, they'll often try to like copy bigger games. So
Mm.
let's say for example when League of Legends was first getting like really big, Dota 2 was taking off. That was like earlier when I was playing it. There was a ridiculous amount of clones of that game.
Hmm.
Like we had so many like League clones, Dota clones, and none of them are really doing anything innovative or different. They're just trying to copy it, but they had such a small budget that you end up just having this version of League that was like, okay, well, there's like 10 characters, and this one is ridiculously overpowered. Like, why would I touch
Yeah.
this game? It so I don't know. Like, if I find that's like the biggest mistakes that indie devs make. What do you
Right.
think?
I usually find that they don't market their products enough. I mean, the main thing I typically see with indie teams is just like on Reddit, you'll see like the random post from a dude saying like, "Oh, me and my best friend quit our job to develop our dream game." And then you see that one post and it gets like 10,000 upvotes and then they're like, "Here's our Kickstarter." And that's the only post you'll ever see about that game. And it's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Like you got to actually get it out there. You got to be more active than just one Reddit post. Like you got to be driving, trailers out. You got to be posting shit constantly. You got to be trying to make sure you're heard because that's one of the biggest struggles you're up against, advertising firms for these AAA titles. Like you have to do at least some sort of the back work besides just making the game, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
typically what I see with indie games is I I've been a part of a couple developments where like I've found it on Reddit and then I message the devs and I'm like, "Hey, I'd love to promote your game. I'd love to play it on stream. I'd love to do all this. I'll pay you for the
Mhm.
copy, like everything." And then I'm like the only person who ever plays it. I'm the only person who ever gets it on Twitch and then I don't see anything else from it for like 6 months. And then the Steam release comes out and I'm like, "All right." Like shit, dude.
Yeah.
So, that's usually what
Um,
I see
there's
as
like
the shortcomings.
one more thing that reminded me. I don't know if you ever heard of Dream World.
Yeah, that's the game I'm talking about actually with
Okay,
the one where I streamed it for them and I like tried to help them like get it out on Twitch and stuff like that. I saw like one other person
Dream
to
World
ever
is
stream it.
shit.
Yeah. I don't know,
It's
like it
like literally just a scam MMO.
yeah, I
They
don't
they have
know.
like a Kickstarter and stuff. They've actually raised like a bit of funds, and the game is dog shit. It runs at like 2 FPS,
Oh, I
and
was talking about a different game. My bad, my bad, my bad.
yeah, I was gonna say, wait,
I was
what?
talking about Dreamscaper or Dreamscape.
Oh, I've never even heard of them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, go ahead and look up Dream World. That could be like
Dream
an
World?
entire podcast in
Oh
its own, but it's
no.
like it's just a big
Oh,
scam MMO. They've made like
wait.
millions, and the product they have is like just complete dog shit.
All right. Well, first red flag, I opened up their website and
Uh,
what? It's just a mess. All right. Yeah, another day,
yeah.
another day, another day.
All right.
On the
We'll move on to the next one. On the flip side, what mistakes do you think a lot of AAA titles
they don't
make?
accept player feedback and they make their poo poo game over and over and over and over again. I'm looking at you,
Yeah.
Hunt fucking Showdown. You have a AAA dev like Crytek with fucking millions of dollars and you bankrupt the company making a piece of shit. Wow. Good job.
Well, yeah. I mean, not only did they like just kind of fuck over the game and not listen to player feedback, but they put a lot of money into advertising the game
Hmm.
around launch and after launch, and that's why the players rose because obviously more people are just seeing it.
Yeah.
But the amount of disappointment I've seen from like the veteran players is insane.
Hmm.
And I don't understand how that game doesn't have like mixed or negative reviews. Because you
I,
talk to like anybody who's streaming it, like people who played that for a long time, they're like, I fucking hate it, I'm miserable.
yeah. It
Like,
was like the number one thing when I worked at my old job, like in person. A lot of the guys I worked with suddenly started playing Hunt on full release. They're like, "You got to get into
Mhm.
it, man." I was like, "No." I was like, "I have a fucking 1,000 hours. I'm not touching that shit ever again." They're like, "Wait, the game's been out that long?" I'm like, "Yeah, you have no idea what you're getting
Yeah,
into. It's fucking garbage."
it's really bad. Like, it's just sad how they do it. Like, I still remember that one stream that I really wish that I made some short video about that stream
Right.
because that was like the most important turning moment for me. I'm assuming you were there. A lot of big streamers were there as well. A lot of people in general that played the game were there. There was this one patch where they're talking about their balance changes, and so they're like, okay, so here's what guns people have been using. Here's the success rate, and then they go, here's our higher level players, and then I think everybody who is like a veteran of the game, just their heart froze. Like, wait, what does this mean?
Yeah, wait a
And so
minute.
then it's like here's the guns that the veterans have been using, and they are using the sparks a lot.
Hmm.
So we decided to nerf the sparks, and it's like here's the Winfield that everybody's using, and we're gonna nerf that because of the
Yeah.
popularity of it. And it's like, oh my god, you're fucking dumb.
Like, what are you
And then
doing?
and then like they nerf the ammo on the uppercut as well,
Hmm.
and you just see the entire chat when they see this like list of everything that they're nerfing, just spam no. It was like 95 to like 99% just people spamming no. The rest of it might be like some other random comment or the odd person saying yes,
Hmm.
probably to be ironic, but like they had to put the chat into slow mo because of how like how aggressive
How
people were talking
volatile
and
the
saying
response
no,
of "Oh my god, please God, no."
and
Was
their
that this?
response to that was, "We're gonna keep pushing the changes." It's
Yeah.
like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
We're
You
actually gonna
literally have a
balance it through
community
price
saying
now.
no."
So,
Yeah,
we're actually going to buff the Optimat. It's like, "What the fuck are you
it
doing?"
it it's just so clear that they don't understand the game, they don't
Mhm,
play it, and they don't listen to the community, and I think
mhm.
that's like, that is the way that you kill a game,
Absolutely,
and,
and that's a very
we'll have to
common
see
mistake
over
of
time.
AAA teams. How about you?
Yeah,
What
and
do you think is the major mistakes of a AAA team?
Um, I think the number one thing that I see is just there's no originality.
Mm,
We've seen some really big budgets on games
yeah.
that like come out and then they're just boring. Like
Mm,
who cares? Or like we get the experience of Call of Duty where they release the exact same thing every year and
mhm,
eventually you get to the point where you're like, I don't care. Like you kind of like the issue is like you end up going on these highs and lows where it's like you kind of are excited for the new game and then once you play it you just drop down. Then the
right.
new one is like announced, you're like, okay, and then you drop down.
Yeah,
And
right.
then you kind of keep doing that to the point where like those highs are really low. Like you're like, okay, well I have bad expectations. Okay, it's shit. And then eventually you're just like, I'm done. Like I think around like Call of Duty Ghosts, I stopped and it took me
Mhm,
a while to try it again. I enjoyed Black Ops 4 for Blackout.
mhm,
I enjoyed Warzone for like a little bit, but then it was like I just started getting sick and tired of it. Like
mhm.
Call of Duty has such a short lifespan for me. Whenever I pick up a new Call of Duty, if I do, I will play it for a month, 2 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes with the BRs, we played it for like a little bit longer, but
Mhm.
those just don't last. Like League of Legends, I played forever, right?
Yeah, I
And
still
it's
play
like,
League. Yikes.
yeah, and there's tons of different games where it's like they can keep your attention forever, but Call of Duty is meant to be like you get bored after a while and then you pick up the next one. But it's like if you stop doing that, then you finally fall out of that trend. And I'm hoping that with time, Call of Duty like just stops, like just straight up. Same with
It
like the
just
new
dies.
Halo. Yeah, same with like the new Halo stuff. Like I don't know, Halo Infinite just does not look good. Like
Mm.
when I watched the gameplay, I was like, this just looks like a modded version of like Halo 3 or
Yeah,
4.
I'm
Like,
I'm genuinely confused when I see gameplay of the new Halo games because I'm not sure what fucking game it is. Because I see it and I'm
mm,
like, all right, this just looks like the same thing that's been released the past like 4 times, and I didn't buy any of those, so why am I gonna buy this one?
yeah. I think we mentioned it before, maybe we didn't, but X Defiant, it's like a game coming out by Ubisoft.
Mm.
Um, if you guys look it up, like straight up, if you show that just a video of it to one of your friends, be like try and guess what game this is. Somebody will be like, "Oh, it's like Call of Duty," or like, "Oh,
Mhm.
that looks like this game." Like it's
Yeah.
so unoriginal and boring, and their intention is to like have a long lifespan where they keep updating and stuff. But it's like that. I cannot see that game
Yeah, it's
succeeding.
not
I'm
gonna
sorry, but
last
it looks
more than
boring.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah, I will be so surprised if it lasts longer than that. But it just doesn't look good.
Mhm.
And then like Ubisoft did something else. What was the game? It was like Hyperscape or something like
Oh,
that. It
yeah, I
was like
remember that one. It was for yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
it
fucking 3
it was a
months,
VR,
yeah. It existed for 3
and
months and then it
that shit's
disappeared.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy because you have millions and millions of dollars going into that. You have so much advertising. I mean, they advertise and push that shit on Twitch. We saw trailers for it. It was like, it was really hyped up. I know that almost everybody who I knew about the game because
Mhm.
it was so well advertised and stuff. And that shit died almost instantly. And now it's like a month later or something. You'd mention the name, you're like, what? Like
Mhm.
it just died off. They like the word of mouth never got around. Besides, don't play it. And
Besides,
it
yeah, I
just
downloaded that. I didn't like it.
yeah.
It's like, "Oh, shit,
That was
alright."
my experience. I
Yep.
hated it. It was just bad. It was unoriginal. There was nothing like interesting about it. Anything that was like unique about it just felt like a shitty mechanic that was like
Mm.
just taken from another game. It was just uninspired, and it really shows that like a lot of AAA devs don't like design with passion. They just sort of design with like trend and money in mind.
Mhm.
So they'll just be like, okay, what will make money? And they go, oh, BRs make money. I'm sure they lost a lot of money on Hyperscape.
Oh,
Like
absolutely not. I think they had a skin shop.
oh, maybe. I don't think it was as
Fucking
profitable
around. I don't know
as
if they had a
something
skin
else.
shop or not.
But hopefully some whales help them with that. But it
Yeah.
just seemed like such a bad idea, and it's like they could have put so much time and effort into a different game and would have had so much more success. But
Yeah. Agree. Big agree.
they fucked up.
Next topic here. Moving back to the indie side of things. What do you think indie teams do better than AAA teams?
Um, I think kind of what I've been saying before. They definitely design with more passion,
Mhm.
and they often have more originality. You'll see tons of games where, like, honestly, some of the best games are developed by like a team of 10 or less.
Mhm.
In terms of like something that's unique. I mean, even Among Us, like, I know it's a
Among
meme at this
Us.
point, and everybody knows it, but like, it was a fun game. I enjoyed it when it first came
Mhm.
out. It was
It spawned
obviously
a
shittiest
genre. Yeah.
graphics. It was super easy to run. It was like kind of like when you look at it functionally kind of like a dog shit game. Like it just looked like a browser game, but it was
Mhm.
fun, man. It was an original concept. It was something that was like, done well enough that it
Yeah.
worked, and it heavily just relied on social interaction, which I think makes the game so much better. Like I know for me it's almost hard for me to play single player games at this point. I love just playing with somebody else, whether it be like co-op, PvP, whatever. Um, so I think when games understand like what people want out of a game and focus on that, you get something that has so much more passion and originality. And yeah, I mean like Among Us is an easy example of just look how easy that game was to make and look
Mhm.
at how successful it was. And
It just took
I think
Trouble in Terrorist Town and made it accessible for kids. Like, holy shit. It's fucking
yeah,
genius. Yeah.
in a way. And yeah, then when you look at like a lot of big AAA stuff, it's like cool, we've seen that before. Sure, it looks goddamn gorgeous because it's on this like super
Mhm.
new updated engine, but
Yeah, and it's gonna fucking
the
crash
gameplay's
my
boring as shit.
Yeah, but I love when AAA games make fucking crazy high graphics and shit, and then they're like, "Now available for the PS4." It's like, all right, what the fuck? It's gonna look like ass. Like, why did you fucking? All right, whatever. Um,
Oh, what do you think then?
typically, I find that indie teams try new things more often than AAA teams. Like, um,
Mhm.
for example, this is not really an indie team, but fucking when games are in early development or when there's, player feedback getting taken into account, you can see things like, for example, the cycle. We've played fucking the cycle through what, 6 different beta tests now, but it's been a different game every single time.
Yeah,
So I feel like when teams have a little bit more passion or a smaller team or a more intimate team where they actually give a shit about their game, you usually end up with someone trying something new, regardless of it working or not. At least they're trying something new, and I think that's really
yeah,
important. And it drives a lot of the success of indie games is they have fresh ideas, and they're not afraid to risk it because they're not afraid to, have a company go under. No one's going to lose their job. They're just it's a passion project typically.
Yeah. Actually, on the cycle, because we actually have played it through a lot of interesting stages.
Mhm,
Um, I almost find that that's like both a like pro and a con
mhm.
to their development process is they've never had a proper identity. I think they
True.
had an original concept that they wanted to start off, but they had no like identity to that concept. It
Right.
was just sort of this FPS shooter where there's quests and you kind of go into this world, you're supposed to collect resources and then leave. Like that's sort of the idea of the game, but they never
Mhm.
made enough core elements to the game that they had this really awkward development stage. And it was sort of like, I guess one thing that we should look at first is when you are making a game, you need to first make the core elements, the like, what makes that game, and then
Mhm.
you add on to that and you make systems that work for that core gameplay.
Mhm.
So you could look at like Escape from Tarkov, for example. The core gameplay is that you bring in your gear, you loot, and you shoot other people. Like that's
Hell yeah,
it.
brother.
You can add so many more things. You can add like armor, you can add more loot, you can add more enemies, you can add more maps. Like all this stuff doesn't change the like core gameplay. It just is added to enhance it. Whereas like when it came with the cycle, it felt like we didn't really know what the
Mhm.
core gameplay was. The idea was like you go in and you have um it's a shooter, but then you're supposed to get points and
Yee.
then leave. But it's like, what was the focus? Was the focus the materials? Was it the points that you get for getting the materials? Was it killing people? Like, we didn't know what focus or like what was supposed to be core about it, and that was like a big issue. Is like when they were developing it, it went from um there being a heavy focus on PvP to them being like, okay, wait, no, people are complaining about dying too much. We need to tone back to PvP. And now you're punished for PvPing and it's a PvE focused. And then
Mhm.
people complained again and then it switched back. And then now we're at this stage where it's basically an EFT clone.
Mhm.
And I think this is where they've started to lose me because originally I liked that there was an original idea, but they kept trying to do maybe too many things. And without a proper identity and without the proper set in stone core gameplay loop, they ended up just sort of being like, okay, well, what are people asking for? And people are like, I want it to be like EFT, but with longer time to kill. And
Mhm.
now it's literally kind of like EFT, but it doesn't, I don't know, like EFT
Feels
already
weird.
exists,
Yeah.
and like I feel like if they're not there, I don't know. It just feels like a different EFT, but that's not really what I wanted out of it. So I feel like they've sort of lost me. They may have lost some other people. I'm still gonna try it out when it's fully finished, but it's been in development. It's been back and forth for too much, and yeah. But I do respect when they like will listen, but I think
Mhm.
yeah, developers find that core shit, like find what
Yeah.
makes the game that game, and then try new things from there. But
Yeah. Try new things, but don't
don't
just
just keep starting
throw
from the
darts at a
ground up.
board.
Yeah, and they aren't necessarily too much of an indie. They're kind of like a mix.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like
They're mid-size. I think they have what, over they don't have more than 100 employees, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, but I know that Jaeger's not like new to the game either. They're not really
Yeah,
like too indie. Um,
I get you. On the
yeah,
flip side of this, however, AAA teams,
yeah.
what do they do better?
Um, I feel like when it comes to AAA, they are much better at polishing their game.
Mhm.
You have some really beautiful looking games, and they're able to pump out a lot of content for games.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's like one of the pros that we often see, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that
It's a better
is,
game. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, like they don't always live up to that, but I think that's oftentimes what we get out of it. Like, I think when it comes to like I'm gonna use Cyberpunk as an example because I
Mhm.
love the game. I think it's a fantastic game. I know you love it too,
Mhm.
and it got a lot of bad criticism, and I didn't really agree with a lot of it. And I think the main thing was just expectations. It had been this game that was in development forever.
Right.
People just kept getting amped up, getting like these really high expectations. I had really high expectations, and they still like surpassed that. But maybe I was like more grounded in reality, whereas I think a lot of people were just like this is gonna be
This is
the
gonna be the
perfect
fucking
game.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be absolutely no flaws. It's like, I've literally never played a game with 0 flaws.
I've
I
never
will be able
played
to
a
find a
CD Project
glitch.
Red game that fucking functioned. All right, like I'm a Witcher fucking fan. I was fully expecting this shit to just break at every opportunity, and the fact that I made it through my entire playthrough with I think one major bug that locked me, and I had to reload my save once. So
Yeah.
I
I
don't
never had to
know what
reload
the
my
fuck
save.
happened to other
I
people.
never had any game breaking bug. And like, even when it came to animation stuff, I
Mhm.
only had like a couple of weird animations the first day, but then they did a hot fix for like the next day and it was
Yeah,
all gone. Like
I
there was like
even
a
think
floating phone in the home or like
yeah.
the early scenes.
Mhm.
I don't know, I remember that a lot.
I had my fucking game got soft locked because Takamura's during like a truck scene, his fucking truck just flew off the map because it got clipped on something. And I was like, oh, all right. And I had to
Oh,
reload. It was just fucking
that's weird.
hilarious. I was like, all right, sweet. He like hit a pole and it clipped or something. I don't know. But it was like the only thing that happened the entire time. So really couldn't have asked
True.
for a better playthrough.
Yeah, I don't know. I had such a good time with it, and I think like if you were to like, let's say nobody knew about Cyberpunk,
Mhm.
and it was made by like some random indie developer, and it was just like completely new publisher, new developer, and it was just released without any publicity, anybody knowing, that shit would have like perfect ratings.
Yeah. Oh
But the
my
thing is like,
God.
but the thing is, people get so much like high expectations for AAA teams to put out this like perfect content, and then a lot of people that only consume the stuff that's advertised often have like really unreal expectations because they're not really like people who play a lot of games. And I feel like that's one thing that was unique about that game was like it pulled so many different people, like people that don't even necessarily play a lot of games, just casual people, um, into that game, and then they kind of went in with, you know, a skewed view of reality
Mhm.
when it comes to games. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think like no indie team could do Cyberpunk. That shit
No.
was incredible. There's a fuck ton of content to do in it.
Yeah.
It was really well made. Um, and the story was fucking phenomenal. Like it was the best story I've ever had in a
Yeah.
game ever.
I
Like
mean, say
straight up,
what
I
you will
loved it.
about fucking Keanu Reeves' voice acting at some parts. Like, of
I
course,
loved it.
I know it's Keanu Reeves. Who gives
That's
a shit?
it's literally Keanu
it's
Reeves.
it's
Like that's
his
how he
it's his
talks. That's
delivery.
him.
Yeah. But a
Yeah.
lot of people were like, "He just sounds so weird." I was like, "That's have you seen John Wick? Like,
Yeah.
fucking listen to him talk. It's hilarious."
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know. I've seen enough like Keanu Reeves media and stuff
yeah.
that I'm like, that's him. He's doing
Mhm.
great.
That was like the one thing that I found was a little hilarious were just people just riping on fucking the lip flaps or like, oh, I don't like the facial expressions or the voice lines. Like, okay, what the fuck? This game's hilarious. What do you mean? There's a mission where a guy gets his dick blown off because it's robotic. Are you kidding me? This game's perfect.
Hilarious. I loved it.
All right.
Um, so when it comes to like budgets, do you think like Kickstarters are good things? Because oftentimes indie developers will go for Kickstarters
Right.
because they don't have enough budget
Yeah.
to necessarily like take time off work or whatever.
I like the idea because you can directly fund the project and really have like a say in what the developer's doing, especially when they're really candid about it. I mean, I've definitely funded a couple games on Patreon. I've had a couple people come in and they're making an RPG or something. They're like, hey, you want to play it? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I go on itch.io and it's like $2 or whatever. So you buy
Mhm.
it for $2. Who gives a shit? Kickstarters I feel like are a really good way to gauge interest. I mean, I've bought a couple board games. I know it's not video games, but they're games. I've bought a couple board games on Kickstarter, funded $50 into them or whatever, and you get it sent to you like 6 months later. I think it's really cool. Um, I think they're a great way to gauge interest, but it shouldn't be the only avenue that an indie dev's trying to get their game made through.
Mhm.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time when I see really good ideas, especially on Reddit or on social media of really small game devs of like 2 or 3 people posting their stuff, and then I see a Kickstarter, and then I don't see anything ever again. You know what I mean? It's just you got to try other stuff. You got to keep pushing, and it's just I feel like a lot of people fall off or they just get stuck on like, oh, I'm just gonna make a Kickstarter, and then I'll get $2,000 and haha, I made my game. It's like, no, dude, make a Kickstarter, make a Patreon, post that shit nonstop, put updates on YouTube, like get it all out there, and then people will play your game.
Yeah.
What about
Um,
you? What you think about Kickstarters?
I think Yes, it almost needs to be a thing because I
Mhm,
think that as players, as gamers, I feel like we should be the ones who are deciding what succeeds and what doesn't.
mhm.
But oftentimes, like what you see is what you're gonna go for. There's been plenty of games that have just gone under the radar and I didn't know till like a year later. So I mean, without like a budget, they can't really advertise it to me. Um, but I think when it comes to like what games I play, I really try and like pick and choose what is
Chicken poop.
what yeah, chicken poos. um, uh, I try to chick and poos the
Mm,
games that I think are gonna be good, and I don't like to just support whatever's mainstream, whatever people are playing. Just because my friends are playing and it's popular doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to pick it up.
right.
Um, I try and make sure that I'm supporting what's good. So I think like it's good to have Kickstarters because it's going to allow developers with a passion for development and with great ideas to actually be able to make those
Yeah.
ideas and give us products that we're going to enjoy. Um, the one thing I will say is that there's been plenty of shitty devs taking our money.
Yep.
One that we were talking about just off recording here was Valhalla. So
Shit.
we were both there for that. I think this is a great
Oh
story to
my
talk about when it
god.
comes to
The fuck is that company even
being
called?
safe with your money.
Black Rose
Um,
Arts.
Black Rose Arts, yeah. So
Don't give 'em a
basically,
fucking dime.
um, like a week or so, maybe like yeah, somewhere within a week before the launch, I decided to join their Discord and I started getting involved. I was excited for the launch. I never paid for the Kickstarter, but they did have a Kickstarter. They made a lot of these promises. They had some gameplay footage of like what you could do in it. And then on the day of the night of, I was just up. I think I was just, kind of like at a nocturnal stage and I was there and I was like, cool, I'm gonna watch some people play because I noticed there's tons of people in the Discord. They're streaming. Let me go watch. And so I started watching the stream, and I noticed they're like all playing different games. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess it got delayed. Typical,
Mm.
but whatever. Like an hour later or something, they finally launched it, and it was shit. It was so shit.
It's
And
oh my god, I remember it. Sorry, I don't, I
so
don't want to interrupt you.
the moderators of the Discord were streaming it and talking shit about it. These are people that like were supporting the game for so long that they became moderators of it. They were playing it and were like, "What the fuck is this?" And they just started laughing. They're
Oof.
like running around, like their bodies just like jiggling on stuff because like the game is so poorly coded. All it was
Oh
like an open
no.
world where there was like a few enemies that just stood there and were like ragdolls to smack,
Mm.
and then just random trees like it was so clearly unfinished, unpolished, and undone. Like it looked like something that somebody might have made in like 48 hours. Just like, okay, I'm gonna just try and pump out something. I'm gonna do this as quickly as I can. Just grab some assets. And I'm like, I've seen better shit done in like those like 48-hour jams. There's tons of like horror games where they
Yeah.
do that. It's just like a fun little thing. Um, Shit game, and the moderators were talking shit about it, and like they were just sitting there laughing at it, and it was so funny because everybody was posting in general chat like pictures, little memes of like the game, how bad it was, and the developers of the fucking game came into the channel, like the voice channel that everybody was in, started watching the stream, and we're all like everyone in the voice chat just starts shit talking the
Oh
devs like
no.
they're like, yo, what the fuck is this game? Are you
Oh
guys scamming?
no.
Can you guys answer? Are you actually scamming? And they just sat there quietly for like
Fuck.
maybe a minute to 3 minutes just watching the moderator stream, listening to all of us shit talk and like ask for our money back and stuff.
Oh my
And
god.
then they just left the voice chat, didn't say a goddamn thing, and we're all just like laughing. And then um they end up posting something that was like, we're aware that like you're disappointed and stuff like this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And some people are asking questions and they're like, hey, where's the content? And one of them replied like, oh, we have Draugr. And so
What the
everybody
fuck?
started memeing and changing their nickname to like Draugr, we have Draugr, like there's Draugr in the game. Like everyone started doing that and it was just the dumbest thing, but
What
it
a
was just so
fucking dick.
funny.
That's so funny.
And then the moderators switched to like playing Mordhau and streaming that, so we were all
Oh
just like
no.
sitting there talking shit about the game. It was just like a funny moment
Oof.
that was like I think a lot of people were grateful that they got to have that experience. That was just hilarious, but Yeah, it was like a $30 game if you're American, 34 for me. And it was shit. It
Yep.
was a scam.
You can still
And
go buy it. You can still go play it. The era we're talking about when we saw it, if you watch the trailer that they currently have posted, there's a scene where he's holding a Mjolnir, like Thor's hammer, and he just
Mhm.
ragdolls a body away. That was the whole game. That was it.
Yeah.
That was the release. You walked
And,
into a forest that it's supposed to be a multiplayer BR, a Viking BR,
yeah.
and the
And
release they
it
had
is a single player.
was a single player with 10 trees around you and a hammer in the ground. You would pick it up and ragdoll a dead body away. That was it.
Yeah.
It was $30.
And
What?
another thing was like all the trailers show like BR where it's like multiple people using multiple different weapons
Yep.
fighting each other, having like an actual like PvP interaction. Like
They're
a lot
building
of them
houses,
looked
they're
really
fishing.
cool.
None of
Yeah,
it's
there
in the
was so
game.
much content and like yeah, the game was literally just an empty field
Yep.
with a couple ragdolls to smack and some Draugr.
Yep.
And
Fucking hilarious.
yeah, so that game's a scam, and then they end up changing the name on Steam. Now it says like Valhalla Harbinger pre-beta testing. Before it did not say that, so they grabbed a bunch of people's money with the title that implied that it was a finished game, and then later were like, "Oh no, it's testing."
Yeah, it's
It's been testing
pre-beta
for like a
testing.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you read
and
the top
so
comments, there's
shit.
people who have been following development for years. They're like, this game's been in development for 3 years and they've had $150,000 given to them over like 4 different Kickstarters. Don't buy this. It's atrocious. So
Yeah,
there's
so
definitely people that abuse the system for sure.
yeah, so that's my little story there. I for the most part don't really buy into a lot of Kickstarters. I
Mhm.
will pre-order and stuff and support Kickstarters when I see enough content that I'm happy with the game and I think it will be a good experience. But oftentimes I need to actually play the game or see like hands-on gameplay, like someone streaming it or something before I can make a decision. Um, but yeah, so that was a little story.
Story time.
I feel like there could be like a documentary on that. That was a
Yeah,
hilarious moment.
that
But
fucking incredible.
to
Internet
switch
historian
from
needs to get on that
shitty
shit.
ones to something better, what's do you have any favorite like AAA titles as of recently?
I'm not gonna say the first part of what I wrote down because I want you to have your full spiel. But
Mhm.
my favorite my favorite AAA title as of recently was Devil May Cry 5. It's just been my favorite game that's come out in the past 5 years. It's just fucking flawlessly polished. It's the perfect character action game in my opinion. It
Mm.
it makes my dick hard as a fucking rock. It's so good. Like if you like character action, if you like single player, just beat 'em up, dungeon crawling with combos and fucking heavy metal. Like the game has a system. This is hilarious. So when the game was first in development, it was fucking hilarious because the game journalists that had gotten review copies were playing through the demo and complaining that the game didn't have music. So the game has an adaptive soundtrack where based on your combo, the sound will start coming in with more instruments and more of the song. You have to get a C combo, which is essentially hitting a monster 4 times with any attack to get any music to start playing. So that means the game journalists were going through and not fucking hitting anything and complaining there was no music in the game. But
That's why I don't trust any game
it's so
journalist.
fucking good. The game is flawless. I it's the only game on my Steam library I have 100%ed with every achievement. Like it fucks. It's so good. I don't
Nice.
have any other things to say about it. I think I 24 hours streamed it when it came out and I cried while I played it. It was great.
Damn.
Anyway, you're up.
Um, yeah, so I mean Cyberpunk,
You're
it is my all-time favorite game now. I think before that it would have been probably like Pokemon, like as a series, because it just is so nostalgia. It's been there forever. Like I've just loved Pokemon. But yeah, Cyberpunk just kind of topped it. I couldn't ask for more in a game.
mm,
I love first-person shooters. I love role-playing games. I love big open worlds. I love like what's the word I'm looking for? Just something that's like unique and like interesting and fantasy. I think that's one thing that
immersive.
never really got me into Grand Theft Auto
Hmm.
was because like it's supposed to be more of like a realistic game. Like you're in a real area with like real cars, everything. I love the fantasy aspect of Cyberpunk. It just makes things so much more exciting. It makes like going into every building, interacting with anybody, looking at random NPCs, so much more exciting because it's different. It's like it's good art. It's something that's like unique, and I don't know. It just it ticked like all the boxes that I would want in a game, and it felt really good. Um, and then like I end up changing a couple of like the ini files in order to like push my FOV to like 103, getting like the dodge roll to not be the double tap thing. Like there was a
Right.
lot of like inconveniences there, but that I could fix within, a couple hours of just Googling some stuff. So it was like anything that I really had any issue with, I was able to fix. Um, and I understand like a lot of people have bad experience with it. Sorry to all the console people, but I mean like
Yep.
we've had to deal with shitty ports for fucking ever, so fuck
Yeah.
you.
I don't know if you guys played Horizon Zero Dawn when that shit came to PC, but it was literally unplayable. I
Yeah.
fucking I was trying to it because of how the sync on monitors worked between the port because you were suddenly taking a game that was never meant to run at above 30 FPS and putting it on 144 hertz. You couldn't hit anything. The arrows would pass through shit because the game wasn't coded to run above 30 frames per second. There were so many problems.
Yeah,
Feel
it
our
was.
pain. All right? It's not that bad. And they
So
fix it.
yeah, sorry but not sorry. At least
Yeah.
I have a nice PC that runs this shit nice. So
Yep. Like I said, I had one bug. Eat my ass. It was a good game.
yeah, it was honestly super good considering like how many hours I put into that and how few bugs I ran into. I'm extremely impressed because there's so much content, such
Mm,
a massive open world. I've seen tons of the bugs and stuff. Most of them are like the vehicle glitching through or you clipping through the map or whatever.
right.
Like that's in like almost every game. It's
Yeah.
nothing like game breaking. Usually like they have enough quick loads that you can just load back like 5 minutes. Whoop
Mm,
de doo. Um I didn't run into any of those, but I've definitely seen the videos and I know what happens. But
yeah.
regardless, my experience with it was fantastic. And yeah, like I said before, the story was great. Like I feel like near the end of it, like there were many times throughout that where I was like, I might cry.
Yeah.
Like
It's a good
it,
fucking
it
storyline.
it really got me, and there was like so many times where like after a mission or like during a cutscene after that, I would just like kind of sit back and be like, damn,
Yeah. Fuck.
what the fuck?
Dude, there were so many times where I was playing that where I had to like get up from my computer after a mission and be like, fuck, that was a lot. Like,
Yeah,
god
it was
damn.
good, man. Like a lot of those missions almost felt like Black Mirror episodes. Like they were
Yeah.
written
It's a
so
whole
well.
fucking movie. Like, honestly,
The
it's
the
good.
one that I loved, or not, like the one that really like pulled on my heartstrings was like the one with the brain dance where the like kid was abused,
Hmm.
and then there was like the farm. Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
didn't even get that mission yet. No. What the fuck?
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a
There's
mission
like
I haven't
a
found yet. What the fuck? All right. Cool.
there
I'm
was like
down.
a mission with like this like this guy that was like abused as a child, and then he ended up being like this person who like abused other people, and he would
The
put them
fuck?
in these like weird contraptions. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really want to spoil too much, but it was just like it was obviously one of those gray areas with like the whole Black Mirror. Like you kind of understand why he's doing this, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also not okay. And now you have like a bunch of other people involved, and it's like, whew, I don't know.
Whew.
It's a good mission. I don't know. Even if you want to like go back and play it, or if you want to watch like YouTube videos of it,
Yeah.
but I can't remember the name of it, but I don't really want to spoil too much. But it
Yeah.
was good, and
Without
like,
spoiling anything, I think my favorite fucking storyline was just interacting with the members of Samurai. That was
mm,
fucking that was a sick storyline and seeing
I
all the
didn't get
payouts
to
from
do
that.
that. I didn't get
What?
to do that. I
Oh,
know.
oh my god, it's
I
so good.
know.
Literally
I,
the scenes that made me like fucking get up at my chair and like this is so fucking sick. It's so good. It's the
I
best fucking quest line. It's so
I've been
good.
waiting. Okay, this is where I'm at with like Cyberpunk because I know I'm in the same boat with like a couple other people. Is like I want to play through it again and I
Yeah.
want to finish all the missions, but I've already played through it like once finished.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't go back to view any of the other endings. I know you did and some other people did, but
Yeah.
like I just kind of wanted the experience that I went from beginning to end to be like authentic,
Mhm.
and I just sort of did what I felt was right and sort of like did the missions I wanted to, sort of like reacted in a way that I felt I would in real life.
Real
Well,
RP
like,
shit.
or
Yeah.
at least, yeah, like essentially, like I put myself in those shoes, and then so I didn't want to like alter that, and then I decided to play another one where I tried to do all the like side missions. I got really far, and then I took a break, and then there was a couple patches, and then when I went to play the game again, my inventory and everything was completely gone, and I don't know what happened to that
Oh,
save file, but it
oh
got bugged.
fuck.
But I was like, that's okay. I don't know where I'm at. It's been like a couple months. I'll start again, and then I downloaded some mods just for like performance stuff, and they recently had another
And
patch, and it's
Booba.
like I don't know if I want to play through the entire thing again and do all the missions to get to the end um before they add like the DLC and stuff. I think I'm gonna wait for like a big content patch and then play through it all again
Yeah,
and do like everything and just have like try and do like literally everything. So if I have like a long break, it might be a little bit better. I don't want to like burn myself out on it.
yeah.
But either way, sorry for ranting. I love that game.
Game's really good. It's fucking
um
incredible.
yeah, so do you have a favorite indie title?
Um, it's not really an indie game, more indie plus because they have a larger company behind it now. But Frostpunk was probably one of my best ones in the past couple years here. If we had to say something, a little smaller, I'd say Darkest Dungeon was been my favorite to play like offline and just kind of just like a guilty pleasure game where I can just kind of unplug my brain and have some fun. It's a really unique concept, and I like what they did with like the card kind of deck
I'd still
building,
say
going
that
through shit.
like um 11-bit Studio, which is who did Frostpunk, is
Hmm.
indie because they are both the publisher and the developer,
Yeah,
so they're
and
independent.
they call themselves indie plus because they have like 90 employees or something like that. But I still
Right.
consider them indie. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's takes the genre of RTS and like city building and just made it really unique. And it's
I'm
fucking
excited for
gorgeous.
Frostpunk too.
Yeah, it'll be
Like
super fun.
I played the little demo they had for Frostpunk and I enjoyed it, but I just found that like I wasn't really in the mood for strategy at the time.
Right.
Like usually it takes a while and then I get into this like strategy mood where I'm just looking for any strategy game. Um, but I'm sure when the Frostpunk 2 comes out, I'll wait for like a sale and if I'm feeling strategy and I'll play it because
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good game. But I'm
Yeah.
like I rarely play strategy, but when I'm in the mood, like usually stuff like this is just cool. Like it's unique. It's
Mhm.
like a new concept. And again, like we were saying, indie developers are good at that.
Yeah. I mean, for those who haven't played Frostpunk, it's literally it's like you're playing StarCraft or any other like civilization, like city builder kind of deal. But the fucking game is trying to freeze you to death the entire time. There you go. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's impending doom.
Yeah, it's fucking stressful. Now, as for how about you? What's your favorite indie as of recently?
Tribes of Midgard. To be
Mm,
honest, I want to say the one thing about like favorite games in general. Um, over the past maybe like 3, 4, 5 years, I feel like there hasn't been many games that really hit that hard. I think
mm,
Cyberpunk might be the only one I can think of. The only reason I'm saying Tribes of Midgard because there have been other ones that I played as of semi recently that I did enjoy.
mhm.
It's just because it was released very recently and I've been having a good time. You and I have been like
Yeah,
playing that most nights now. It's just good casual fun, especially when I've been working all day and I'm just like I just
yeah,
want to have some mindless grind or
yeah.
do some
I want to
whatever
have an
things
hour
just
where
for
I just
friends.
beat the shit out of a giant lady who turns into a tornado. I love it.
Yeah. It's super easy to play. It's like easy to understand. It's just good casual fun. You can see progression as you go, and
Mhm.
it's just a good social game as well. You can just kind of talk about, oh, you want to go here, do this, and then you can just talk about your day for
Yep.
like, 20 minutes while you just casually beat on like hell things and whatnot.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's literally what we've been doing the past like 4 nights. Is we just get a giant group of 4 people together and just fucking sit there and BS for like 3 hours. And we're like, all right, everyone
yeah,
go to bed. Super
and
fun.
and we need games like that. So
Yeah, they
yeah,
work.
any casual game like that's good. So I think that's probably the only one I can think of. I know that there's tons of other like indie games that we've played semi
Mhm,
recently that were good, but nothing that I like is even standing out to even add there.
mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I I
Yeah.
I I think but one thing I do want to say about Tribes of Midgard is I think it's a good example of like how to stay within your budget.
Mm,
They didn't make a big game. It's nothing too crazy. It has a lot of like procedurally generated kind of
yep.
elements to it, which means that there's more content in an easy way and it's fun, a lot of replayability. Yeah, and they didn't go out anywhere too crazy. I'm sure if it was like a AAA, they might push something so hard that it ends up just breaking the game and making it shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tribes of Midgard had a unique idea. They decided to go with it, and it worked out.
Yeah, I can see it.
Um,
I can see it developing into something even better as it continues to go. You know, with their saga system, sort of like a battle pass seasonal thing they're doing with the bosses. They can keep it fresh. They can keep it interesting. They can
yeah,
add new
more
areas.
classes, more weapons,
Yeah,
everything.
there's
Easy.
plenty of room for them to do new things, and I think they have a really solid foundation of a game already made.
Yeah, exactly. They
Yeah.
have the core elements there, the core
Yep.
foundation of the game, and all they have to do is add more. That's what you were talking about before.
Works
Easy.
great.
I want to ask you this. Does a developer's budget attract you to a game? And I want to give a couple examples here. Like
Okay.
when Cyberpunk was first announced, we knew that it was CD Projekt Red. We knew they had
Mhm.
money. We knew they had a big team behind them. And then we also have New World. That's Amazon. Like
Right.
Amazon's essentially an infinite budget. So
Right.
when you hear of these games, does that attract you to it, or do you think, no, I don't care. I just want to see gameplay. If the gameplay is good, then cool. But
I want to say not really, and I want to say that I just want to see the gameplay, but I know that's not true. I know there's a fucking part of me somewhere deep down that's like, all right, but how much money's in it? You know, um,
Mhm.
I want the games typically when a game's coming out. I don't try to give a shit about how much they're spending on it. I mean, look at Call of Duty. I mean, millions and millions of dollars go into that game, and it's a piece of shit every single time. So I don't get that hyped about budget. But when I see something that I know or from a team that I know, and I know that they have some money behind it, that makes me excited. I mean, like Elden Ring, for example, the
Oh,
next From Software game that's going to be coming out, that makes me super fucking hyped because it's not a Souls like clone. It is Souls. It's from the team that makes it, so it's going to be
oh
great.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So there's
yeah,
definitely instances where the budget can get my attention, but in reality, I just want to see that it plays well and it looks good, um, or not even looks good. Just it doesn't even have to look good as long as it's just fun and as long as I can enjoy it. Then I'm probably
yeah.
gonna buy your game, is regardless of how much it is or how much money you put into it.
Hmm.
What you think about budget? Does it attract you? Are you a gold digger
Um,
for
I'd say
video games?
sadly yes. Yeah, bit of a gaming gold digger. But I will say the one thing about this is that like, um, a team with no budget doesn't like detract me from a game.
Right.
Um, I'm not turned off if they have no money. Um, I just want to see the game ultimately.
Hmm?
But yeah, I know like yeah, like I said before, New World, man,
Holy shit.
when like that game was announced as like here's like an MMO survival game because it was originally more of a survival game.
Yeah.
Um, with a enough money that they can do whatever they want basically. It's Amazon's money. I was like, "Oh fuck, finally." Like I've been playing Conan Exiles, Ark Survival Evolved, played a bit of Rust. Like some of these were indie teams. Originally they made some money over the time, but a lot of these were just small teams starting up a passion project, and I always felt that they were like the least polished thing.
Hmm.
However, when you look at stuff that did have a lot of money in that same field, Fallout 76, what a shit show.
What the fuck?
I I was so excited. Like when that was announced, I was like, "Holy fuck, this is it! Yes, 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 yes."
I was
I
excited
bought
until the
it.
first day of Twitch streams, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I bought it, played the beta, and I was like, "I'm refunding this. This is shit." I'm locked at 60 FPS. There is no content. You have to like make up all the content. There's like a few
Mhm.
little introductory things to get you into the game. And then it was like, what do I do? And then as I'm roaming around, I
Go
ran
kill
into a
roaches."
fuck ton of bugs. So many bugs in like a couple hours of a beta. And I was like, I can't, man. Like,
Mhm.
I know, like, I can handle the bugs in Bethesda's like story games because I will just mod the shit out of it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna break it
and
anyway.
yeah, and for the most part, a lot of them are just kind of like funny. But when it comes to a multiplayer like survival game, it's not okay. Like, I
Mhm.
can't deal with a lot of bugs that like I had one that literally turned my entire screen black, and I had that
Oof.
multiple times. It was like it would be like one weird object that's
Mhm.
like clipping with my screen, and as I turn, it will like leave a black smear. And so
Oh,
like
what the
as I
fuck?
keep looking, it keeps filling up more of the screen, and then I'd have an entire black screen, and I
Just
couldn't do
screen
anything.
tearing, but fucking like rotoscoping. That's weird.
Yeah, I got stuck in multiple spots where I like couldn't move, so I had to like restart. It was
Fuck.
just it was brutal. And then like I tried roaming to do some other stuff, and the world felt so like barren and boring, and there was just nothing to it. And the random player interactions are so boring because you can't just kill anybody. The
Hmm.
way they like had their system was weird. Sorry. Either way, that game sucks. Um, and so when it came to like New World, I thought this might be it. It's like an infinite budget. It's not Bethesda's old creation engine. And to be honest, that game was great. I loved the beta. I had so much fun with it. We're both super hyped for New World. We're gonna be
Yep.
playing a lot of that.
It's all I'm
We've already
looking
talked
forward
about it
to
a
in
bunch.
life.
So I mean, yes, the budget definitely attracted me to it, but I will say that like if I browse a fuck ton of games, probably more than Jake does or
Yeah.
anybody else
I
that we really play with.
I don't sit on Steam all day sometimes,
I
but I go
I
through my
go through
discovery
the
queue.
discovery queue like multiple times a day. Like
Fuck. I do like once a
I
month.
wonder yeah, like I have gone through the discovery queue so many times that yeah, I've viewed 7,500 titles.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I
I
viewed
view a lot.
700.
Yeah.
Literally 10 times more.
I am always looking for that next game to play,
What
man.
the
I am
fuck?
so excited for games.
Jesus Christ.
This is how I know I'm still a gamer.
A
When
gamer.
we've had these like 2 years where we've just been like, I don't
Mhm.
know if I want to play games. I'm not feeling
Right.
it. And we've both had that realization and like thought of like, are we just like old? Have we
Yeah, am I
like
getting
run out of
old? Like,
games?
fuck, man.
Like, no, no, I'm still like constantly looking for games. I am so excited for like those new games like the Riot MMO. I'm
Yeah.
fucking hype as shit for that. It's like I know I want to play games. There's so many games, but it's like we've just had dog shit games over the past like
Mhm.
2, 3 years.
Yeah.
I think probably due to COVID, but like fuck, dude,
Absolutely. I mean, that
bad
it
games.
fucked over a lot of people for sure. But
Oh yeah,
at the same time, it allowed a lot of indie devs to thrive because they had a lot more time to work on their passions. So,
for sure. And
same
another
vein.
game like by Amazon, we both played it, Crucible. It was fucking horrible. So
It's
it's like,
so
yeah,
bad.
an infinite budget does not mean that it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
That's something to definitely note. But I don't know. Every time I hear like, oh, this developer who has all this money is dipping their toes into this genre, I fucking perk my dick up and get excited. So,
Get nice and hard, real nice.
um,
You think
yeah,
devs need a larger budget to get a larger population of players into their game?
yes.
Yeah.
Um, I really, really do, and I hate that. Like I've said before, I just like I didn't know about so many games until like somebody randomly comes along and tells me. And
Right.
I mean, you see, I have like over 7,000 games viewed in Steam. I am constantly watching like trailers. Like I scroll through like IGN and all those like people who post game trailers, like people who play indie games like let's plays. Like I'll scroll
Mhm.
through and see like what new games are in. Like I'm constantly looking for new games. I do it almost daily. Um, but it's like so hard to get a population of players if you're not advertising because even me, even someone who's constantly looking for new games, I will still miss so many. And like it sucks because there's been some really good like gems that just pass by so many different people. And I know like on Showdown, we played that for like ever and
Mhm.
nobody knew about it until like they started advertising and
Yep.
all of a sudden it picked up a lot of traction because the concept's cool. It just sucks that the like game sucks, but
Yeah. And now they're
um
just cashing out on skins because their company's going under and they need to pay them somehow.
yes.
Yep.
So yeah, I think yeah, like the developers do need a large budget to get a big population. It's definitely happened before where they didn't. Mainly just due to word of mouth. I know most of the word of mouth is just streamers getting paid.
Mm.
But it works. Sometimes throwing a little bit of budget there is worth it in the long
Yeah.
run. As long as you believe in your project, you should be spending money to advertise it and taking those risks. But um, yeah. What about you?
I said you have to pay for servers somehow. So what I'm saying by that is like if you're making an online game, then absolutely. I mean, you're probably never going to be able to find an indie dev making like a large scale MMO or anything like that. It's just not
I mean, they
possible.
try, but a
Yeah.
lot of them fail.
Yeah. So it severely limits the genres that single employee devs or anything like that can create by not having a large budget. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't have a huge player base. Stardew Valley, perfect example. It's fucking one dude. and he
Yeah.
made a game that I think I personally have bought 4 times. I have it on my
Oh,
PC, Jess's PC, we have it on a Switch, and Jess has it on her phone. Like, what the fuck? Like, perfect example. It's not a large budget game. The dude made it in his garage, essentially, and I've spent that's what, $80 on it? Holy shit.
yeah.
There you go. Do you
Yeah.
think devs themselves should focus on specific genres based on team size or budget, or do you think they should branch out and try new things?
Um,
Dicey.
yeah, so what I was thinking here is like if you are a smaller developer, obviously if you're going to try and make an MMORPG, I think that's probably the best example. You need to understand that like you're not gonna be able to reach a large audience instantly.
Hmm.
Um, if it was an indie developer team making New World, we wouldn't have as many people playing it.
Oh.
Right? It's just money definitely helps spread games. So yeah, if you're gonna make a big MMO, then make sure that like you're very confident that you're gonna get a large population, have the budget to advertise, or just make a smaller game and make sure the content that's in it is really good. Um, So I don't think it's necessarily that you should focus on specific genres, but I think when you are focusing on a certain genre, understand your budget, understand like what you're capable of, and then start from there. Because yeah, I think we've seen it so many times with, indie teams trying to make MMOs or trying to make shooters, but they end up just making this thing that like they're trying to compete with some of the big dogs, and it's
Hmm.
like you can't do that. Like
Yeah.
you if you're not gonna make something original, then don't try and copy something that clearly has more money under their belt. Like the amount of like WoW clones, the amount of like Call of Duty clones, the amount of like League clones that have happened, um, and just failed because they don't have the budget to do anything better than that.
Hmm.
It's just kind of sad. So yeah, just like even look at like Among Us. Like if you have no money, like you can make a shitty game like that and still be like super popular and succeed.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, just focus on what your team is capable of and then go
Or
from
if you
there.
really just want to get into game design, just make hentai games and sell them for $1 on Steam and get them posted for free, essentially.
Fuck
Sick.
yeah.
I'll buy
That's
them.
like the majority of the games, the majority of my viewed tab there.
In Discovery queue.
Yeah,
It's
like
5,000.
5,000 of those,
Damn
all
it.
hentai games.
It's all titty.
Yeah,
Uh,
6,969.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
On my side of this, I think that in general, devs shouldn't be focusing on, oh, I have, 100 employees and $100,000. I'm going to make an FPS game. I feel like they should just focus on making something good, just making sure that's something that they themselves want to play. I feel like devs just lose sight of their goals the longer a game gets delayed or the closer they get to release. I mean, they just don't make new content or they get overhyped over skins or just they just straight up don't give a shit about their players. So you end up with shitty games like Hunt Showdown that had tons of money, tons of time, giant development team, and now it's essentially a fucking Instagram game that only posts their skins every 6 weeks.
Pretty
It's
much,
not
yeah.
fun. But it's been a fun little conversation. I did
Yeah.
enjoy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.
All right. Well, you can find me at twitch.tv/whiteboy or twitter.com/whiteboy. You can also find the TikToks for this channel at TikTok at MinMaxCast, or is it the MinMaxCast? Pretty sure it's just MinMaxCast on TikTok.
I don't know. You're the one
I don't
handling the
know.
ticky
I'm trying to
tacky.
handle it. We're
I'm
gonna be
just a
doing
boomer.
YouTube shorts as well, so those are gonna start getting posted. When you see those, make sure to interact,
Yeah.
comment, let us know what you want to see in future episodes, or tell us that we look submissive and breedable. I don't know. Anyway, how about you,
Hell
buddy?
yeah. Yeah, you can look me up, Apo, pretty much same name on like anything. Twitch, even Twitter, I think I have like IAPO,
Hmm.
YouTube, whatever. I don't really interact too much on Twitter, but yeah, I'm mainly gonna be posting on YouTube. I'm posting tons of New World content, and I'm probably gonna continue doing that, a lot of theory craft stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're really interested in playing New World, I'm gonna be posting tons of content on that.
Already got a couple builds up
And
there. Get some ideas already. Watch them,
yeah,
motherfuckers.
and then we'll definitely be streaming it on Twitch whenever the game actually comes out.
Oh yeah,
And
sweaty
yeah.
nerd herd with a whole clan of fucking idiots and a
Oh
bunch of
yeah,
people
we
that
got sweat, man.
we have been fucking friends with these guys since early Hunt Showdown, and all of us hate the game. So watch us cry and complain and have a great time on New World. It's gonna be fun. All right.
Alrighty, man. Have a
Have a
good
good
one.
one. Bye.
Bye.